Back in November, I flew from London, England to Austin, Texas to spend my time with some of the best pitmasters in Texas and to immerse myself in all things barbecue. My original plans were to work at Leroy & Lewis for a week and then go work at Goldie's. However, the dates that I booked coincided with the Holy Smokes Festival in South Carolina, which Leroy & Lewis were due to feature. Because I'd already booked my tickets and Evan Leroy said that I could come and work with them, he asked me to fly out to Charleston with them just to help them at Holy Smokes Festival. So I fully intended to film everything I could to make a real good vlog for YouTube. But as you could probably imagine, when you're trying to soak up as much knowledge as you can and trying to meet new people, get good discussions going, it can be pretty jarring just whipping out a camera trying to film your own YouTube video. So a couple of days into my trip, I decided that I was no longer going to focus on trying to put together a YouTube video for myself, and I was just going to focus on learning as much about barbecue as I possibly could with all these great people around me. So from a couple of days in, I pretty much didn't take my camera out of my bag again with the intention of filming a vlog. However, I did get some footage, and it's taken me nearly 5 months to even really look through it and bother putting something together because I assumed that it would all be pretty terrible and there wouldn't be much of a story. Knowing me, I'm probably going to lose this footage at some point, so capturing it all, putting it on YouTube, at least it's there forever for me to look back on in the future. So even if no one watches it or you don't find it that interesting, at least it's a documentation for me of my trip. So the production quality, if you can call it that, massively degrades over the course of the video, and you'll see that I use Instagram stories, I use photos, but hopefully you get the point. So if production quality is at the top of your list when it comes to YouTube videos, I'd probably say give this a skip. So here's my semi-vlog kinda trip to Austin, Texas and Charleston. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, welcome to Wilson's Barbecue. In this video, I'm going to be going to Texas. So the USA opens tomorrow for a lot of people, including Europeans, and it's the first day. Heathrow is going to be absolutely carnage, so I'm going to drive down tonight, stay in a hotel so I can get my car parked nice and early, get through security, check my bag in, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to leave now, head to the hotel, and then we'll be traveling over to Texas tomorrow. Right, so I'm here in my hotel room in Heathrow. I've got a 10-hour flight to Dallas tomorrow with a connecting flight to Austin, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss because there's only 2 hours to change over, and I'm pretty sure immigration is going to be slow. So a long day for me tomorrow, so I'm going to go to sleep. Good morning, it's my first morning in Austin. I landed last night, flew in from Dallas, had a connection, that was all messy, didn't get a lot of good footage just because it was such a rush. So I'm at my Airbnb. I am gonna have my first shift today at a barbecue restaurant that you probably know. But before that, I'm gonna go get some coffee from Summer Moon, and I'm gonna go get some breakfast tacos from Veracruz, all natural. So yeah, let's get out on the road, let's go get some coffee and some breakfast tacos. So just pulled up to Summer Moon coffee trailer. It's open from 6 a.m, so I thought I'd get some coffee before getting some tacos. And I wanted to come here last time but didn't get around to it. But I hear the moon milk is really good. Give it a try. It's super sweet. Just kind of tastes like sugar syrup and coffee, sugar syrup and hazelnut, something like that. Anyway, let's go to Veracruz all natural. So this is the migas taco. Got tortilla chips in it, cheese, egg, some salsas. Just trimmed up a ton of briskets. Gonna make some burgers, some turkeys, some authentically made meatball mountain.
full pyramid by the end.
Some chud sausage, turkey bacon. So I finished my shift at Leroy & Lewis, and I think it was a Tuesday, and one of the only places that are open on Tuesdays and all week actually is Terry Black. So I headed over there. I really wanted to get a good tray of barbecue. I'd been here before. I personally really like it. It's always consistent, and I particularly love the turkey. So I got some brisket, I got some ribs, I got some turkey, potato salad, coleslaw, some pickles, and a banana pudding for dessert. So overall I really like Terry Black's. The brisket flat looks a little bit dry here, but that's more from oxidization than anything else. It didn't actually taste that dry. The brisket point was perfect. The turkey was great as always, really well brined, and I really like the ribs. They're not too peppery, they got a little bit of sweetness, and they fall off the bone just the right amount. Overall, I really like Terry Black's, and I'd go back just for the banana pudding. So I just got back from my first day, didn't get as much footage as I wanted to for a few different reasons, mainly being in public with a camera I don't particularly feel comfortable with, and also working at Leroy & Lewis. It was pretty busy, we had lots to do, lots of briskets to trim, burgers to make, that kind of thing, and I'm their guest, they're letting me work with them, so just setting up a camera and kind of focusing on my videos is not something that I want to do. I want to be there and learn from those guys and focus all my time and effort on helping them, not helping me. So I'm going to grab a beer, I'm going to sit on the porch in my little Texas Airbnb and talk about the day. As I said, I wasn't really focusing on making my own video today, and there are some crazy bugs. Everything is bigger in Texas, they say, and it's definitely true for the spiders and the wasps and whatever bugs there are around here. They're creeping me out. There's a spider out here which I'm pretty sure needs to be paying rent if he's not already. The thing is huge. Probably gonna get a fairly early night because tomorrow we are heading off to Charleston, South Carolina for Holy Smokes Festival. So myself, Evan, Brad, Sawyer Lewis, Nathan Lewis, getting on a flight super early, heading off to Holy Smokes Festival in South Carolina. There's a lot of shit going on. We're going to be there with Truth Barbecue, Fiji's, Lewis Barbecue, or doing Texas style barbecue, and then loads of Carolina based barbecue places. I'm picking up Brad and Evan around 4, so it's a real early start. We'll be there for 5 days and then we'll be back in Austin. So this might be it for today, not too sure. Probably just going to chill, have a few beers and get on our flight in the morning. Taking this home in a chat.
There's a brewer right there too.
Oh, heard. Let's see what a real pit really looks like.
This pine,
Pressure treated pine.
Old Christmas trees.
I haven't done an update since I was in Austin.
We're here, Lewis Barbecue. We just finished a couple drinks, couple wings, couple fried ribs at home team. We
Great
dropped
chili
off the
run.
chili.
Yeah, the biggest chili.
The chili
run.
made it, but now we're here.
Now we're gonna.
Brisket, turkey, hot good.
Throw this little end on there for you.
God love a turkey burnout.
Oh, and I apologize. You said you wanted some of the ends. We don't have any traditional, like, reburnt ends.
Yeah.
But we set aside the actual end pieces of the brisket. So I can
Thank you, appreciate
put
that.
these on there for you.
Single potato salad, corn pudding, collard green, mac and cheese.
Good tray
Yeah,
for the
like a
sides.
second tray.
throw this little guy on the side for you.
Thank you very much.
We'll take you right down this way to finish.
It's gonna be 90.54. Here's some extra paper for you guys just to spread things out.
Thank you. Man, I forgot I was gonna get a green chili burger too. Probably a little late for that.
Good? Oh my god, yeah.
Where are we at, Evan? Charleston, South Carolina. We just finished up Revelry Brewing. Now we're on our way to a little bit more closer to the city, Charleston. Going to the Ordinary for dinner. It's a good seafood spot. Probably stop and have a few drinks on the way.
Yeah, it's just a few.
Give me that.
So we headed over to the Holy Smokes Festival. This is the day before the festival, so we have Leo Botello from Truth Barbecue cooking some briskets on a Swig & Swine's primitive pits, and we're also cooking on Lewis Barbecue's Austin Smoke Works twin 500-gallon pits.
Great. Some little strips of little bitty pork belly.
So here's Evan making the pickle brine for some ceviche that was served as a side at the festival, and these are Tyler Hodge's sausage. So it's Tyler Hodge of Hoodoo Brown Barbecue in Connecticut. This sausage was incredible. So we just kind of hang around, did some prep work for the following day, which was the day of the festival. Kind of took it in turns to keep on top of the smokers, make sure everything was cooking along nicely, making sure the fires weren't dying out. We didn't stick around until the very last minute when the briskets came off, but a couple of the guys did. We actually ended up going out for dinner. The next day was the festival day. So this is the day of the festival. It was awesome just to be with so many inspirational guys in the barbecue scene, such as Patrick Feges, the Hoodoo Brown crew, Leo Botello of Truth, Burt Backman of Trudy's Underground Barbecue and Slab, the Blue Oak guys. It was so hot and sunny and just such a good vibe, drinking beers, cutting barbecue with all these guys.
Sausage Mountain.
And I took the opportunity to spend about 3 or 4 hours slicing through 40 or 50 briskets, and here's some cool drone footage that Brad got. I was not used to the Carolina heat even in November, so my hands turned pretty pruny after that amount of time. My t-shirt was soaked through. So if you want to see some actual quality footage from this trip, go over to the Leroy & Lewis Patreon page. They did a whole vlog on this, and you can see more of this kind of footage taken by Brad. Much better than this video. Go check it out. And that's pretty much all the footage I have on the Holy Smokes Festival. I wish I'd got more footage, but if you want to see more, I definitely recommend checking out that Leroy & Lewis Patreon video. They captured way more than I did, and there's loads of other videos on there as well that you can learn from. So we had one more day left in Charleston after the festival before Brad, Evan and I flew back to Austin, and everyone else went their separate ways. So a huge group of us went out and played golf.
Told you I'd outsplash you.
I'm just in the golf cart while they play golf. Brad's here, he's shit as well. It's fine. So after flying back to Austin, I spent one more day with Leroy & Lewis at their commissary kitchen. We cooked beef cheeks, broke down a whole hog, made burgers and did some other prep. I didn't have a lot of time left, so the next day I had to do a Dallas-Fort Worth run in one day and see as many people as I could. I got up super early and headed up the I-35 to my first stop, Hurtado Barbecue. The food was great, as expected, and Brandon was super cool. We'd spoken quite a bit before I headed over, so he came and sat with me whilst I finished up my food and then showed me around the place. Had a look around the pit rooms and checked out their new Barbecue Co. offset. Really appreciated Brandon's hospitality, and I definitely recommend checking it out if you're ever in the area. So after my lunch at Hurtado, I went straight over to Goldie's. So Goldie's wasn't actually open. I just went over to see the guys, check the place out, but they were actually making sausage, so I stuck around for a few hours and helped them finish off their sausage making for the week. It was really cool to meet them all: Lane, Jalen, Chuck, Johnny, PJ, Nupon, and I really appreciate those guys for letting me hang out for a bit. So after that I headed straight back to Austin. I hadn't actually eaten at Leroy and Lewis, although I'd been working with those guys for the last 10 days. I hadn't actually eaten any of their food, so I went straight to the food truck. Sawyer was there serving, and she made me a big platter of pretty much everything that they had on the menu that day, and it was by far the best plate of barbecue I have ever had. So it was my last day, and I couldn't leave Austin without going to Franklin Barbecue. This was the first place I'd eaten barbecue on my previous trip to Austin, and it was going to be my last on this one. So I drove over. It was collection only, takeaway, because of COVID. The restaurant wasn't open. So I did a pre-order, picked it up, drove back over to my Airbnb and had a little feast. Obviously it was really good. It just didn't quite blow me away like it did the first time I ever had it, but that was my very first taste of true Texas barbecue, so it'd be hard to replicate, but it's definitely still somewhere I'll go on every single trip I make to Austin. So before I headed home, I went over to Brad's house to record a podcast for the Leroy and Lewis podcast. I met PP, tried on one of the obnoxiously large Chud hats, and then I pretty much drove from there straight to the airport, got on a flight and headed back to England. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I didn't particularly enjoy putting it together because the footage was such a mess, taking it from Instagram, my phone, my camera, but I don't think it turned out too bad. I mentioned the podcast that I filmed with Evan and Brad at the end of that video, and there's a link to that below if you want to check that out. So if you managed to stick through it and bared it to the end, then thank you very much for watching. Give me a like, let me know what you think in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you hopefully in a couple of weeks for another video.
You ain't ever gonna change. You got a gypsy soul to blame, and you were born for leaving. At a truck stop diner just outside